All right, welcome back to Learning Together. I'm joined here by Miss Melissa Stutts, who teaches at Valmead Elementary currently, but has been an educator for a good while in our district and has made a big impact on other teachers and students. We were walking around the Ed Center earlier, and there were a number of people that had worked with Melissa and had very positive things to say. I think that's so interesting when you meet someone that you go around and you talk about them. Everyone that I've told that I was interviewing Melissa Stutz today has gone, I love her. Only nice things to say. So to be someone who has made that type of impact, that must be very fulfilling for you.
It is.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you.
Um, just a funny way to start out. Out of your 27 years of teaching, is there one moment that you can remember that you told yourself, "This is why I'm here. This is why I'm in the classroom"?
I have so many. If I had to pick the top one, I could even say today, I try to be real positive, and I have a student that the very first day I left and went home and was like, I'm not sure if I can do this with him. I feel like I'm too old. He's too young for me, and he's too all over the place, and I'm all over the place some days. And we have worked so hard together this year, and he's trusted me. And so every day now we have those. He asks, "What kind of a day am I having?" I'm like, "You're fabulous today." And we just kind of went a little above fabulous yesterday, and so I asked him, "Well, what's fabulous? What's better than fabulous?" And I don't even remember what he said. Super amazing. And just thinking back to that first day where I thought, "Okay, I'm too old. I can't do it," and then yesterday thinking, "Wow, we have done this." But I have so many of those. I'm so blessed because my kids just trust me, and I have a lot of those moments. So that's just one that sticks out.
Oh, yeah, and in your classroom, those relationships are palpable. I've had the opportunity to visit your classroom, of course, for Friday morning conversations and coffee,
Yes,
which turns my entire week around. So I'm sure it's very special for you students too. But you can tell that there's just a very special connection between you and your students. And is that something that you find important to cultivate at the very beginning of the year? Is that part of your teaching philosophy to make sure that they trust you and there's mutual respect?
absolutely. I think the relationships before rigor is one of the best sayings I've seen. I've told you before, I was not a great student. I was a pretty bad student. I did not have many teachers, whether it be kneel down or ask me to move to the side, something, and just have a little conversation, and say, Melissa, you can do better than this. Let's try harder, or really get to know me. And part of that's just the time that I grew up. But that is the first thing I want to do. So when you hear a lot of teachers say, I have this one teacher and she's why I'm a teacher, I don't really have that. I have a lot of teachers that made me want to be a teacher because, and don't get me wrong, I was not great. I did not put forth effort. They were 100% right. I talked way too much. But I wanted to become a teacher because I wanted my students to have a person where they're like, okay, this one year was really great. And she is so hard on me, but she loves me just as hard. So I think when we work on that relationship from the very beginning, they truly do just trust me. And it feels so good to be able to have a conversation about a consequence and them know as soon as that conversation is over, we are done. And I couldn't have that conversation with them if we didn't have the relationship. So,
Um, and I can't remember if you told me this or it was another teacher, but someone recently said to me, children are like a little bank. You got to make more deposits than withdrawals. And you have to deposit enough to withdraw.
yeah.
And you can tell your students they've had lots of deposits. They're very fulfilled and very happy when they walk into the classroom. And you have one student that says something that I have started repeating in my everyday life when he'll say, Miss Stutz, my tank's not full yet. Because he comes
So
to school
good.
ready to learn.
It
I think
does.
that says so much about your classroom that a student is ready to fill up their tank each day when they
Yeah.
walk in. So that's awesome. Well, since you didn't have a fun educational experience, I'm not going to ask you where you went to school when you were a kid because we don't need any negative shout outs on the podcast, right?
I absolutely love where I came from. Love it. It's not really negative. It was just, you know, not not quite the time period where you build those relationships. I am older, and I probably did not make it easy for teachers. So I understand those kids like that. But I love where I grew up. Love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I grew up here, so I'm a little
Yeah.
partial.
You should be. That's right.
So let's talk about you have only worked at 2 schools in our
Yes.
district the entire time that you've been a teacher. And I think the story about how you went from one to the other is interesting. I'd love for everyone else to get to hear that too. So you were at Hudson Elementary for, and someone pointed out the other day that I say that word odd. So I apologize to the listeners that I say the word for K-5 education in an odd way, but that's just where we're at. You taught at Hudson Elementary for how many years?
24.
24 years. And
24
then
years.
something compelled you
It did.
to go somewhere else. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
So I was very comfortable at Hudson. I'm from Kannapolis. I went to Appalachian, moved down the mountain, got a job. I was at the old hub building, so I started out there, and then we moved in Christmas break to the new Hudson. They were my family, so I've been to get invited to often weddings, baby showers, all the things. My students' parents were my friends because my family had not all moved here yet. So super, super comfortable. Loved the area. We do live in Lenore, but Hudson felt like home. And Hudson is so big, so it's not as close as some other schools, but the grade levels are very close. And there were 6 of us. Felt like family for sure. And I just started feeling really uncomfortable, and it was so strange. But I had always also said the last several years of my education, if not before, I wanted to go back to an elementary school like I grew up. And I always said West Lenore, Valmead, something like that. That was similar to my elementary school, and be able to give back in that way. And I eventually became uncomfortable enough where I was like, okay, it is time. And Hudson poured into me. They were family. They were wonderful. There was not a person there that, made me want to leave. It was just my time. Definitely felt the Lord saying, it is time to go and spread your wings. I worked with some great, really young girls that I depended on a lot. And I felt like I depended on them a little more than I should, and wanted to go to a school like mine, but I also wanted to go and make sure that when I did leave education, I had done all the things I needed to do, and a lot of things for myself. So I had been in it for a long time, but needed to kind of spread my wings. So that took me to Valmead.
And why Valmead? What led you there?
Valmead is so much like my elementary school, very diverse, just small, really, really small. I had a chance to go back, and one of my PDP goals was to observe other teachers this year, and I wanted to go back because I do love Kannapolis, and I wanted to go to my elementary school. They're a global magnet dual language elementary school now. It was just really cool to see the things they're doing, and Valmead is a lot like that. I just love the diversity. When I walked in, I knew one person at Valmead, and that was a little scary for me. I feel like I can talk to most people, but I do like to be more comfortable, and that felt strange and very quickly felt like family. So I knew it was right where I was supposed to be.
Well, you found yourself meshed into the culture with the teachers there pretty quickly. When I was doing a little research before our conversation today, I found that you were nominated for Valmead's Teacher of the Year your first year teaching there
Oh,
because you made an impact on that school, and the teachers were really proud to say that you were their Teacher of the Year.
mm,
So that was really cool. And the other thing that I think is cool is that there are a few beginning teachers there that really look to you for some guidance and for some help. One in particular, who I think was more excited that you were Teacher of the Year than maybe you were, Miss Haley.
yeah, Miss
So,
Haley.
why is that important to you to make sure that the next generation of teachers, you share something with them about how to be great?
Um, I've had 4 student teachers and several interns. I'm not sure. But every single student teacher brought something to my classroom that was not there before. And so we're raising butterflies now. When you come back next time, you'll see that. That came from my student teaching. And that's been a long time since I did that. But I remember raising the butterflies and releasing them. And I've watched the new teachers be so excited. So I feel like I get so much from them. I'm not sure how much they always get from me, but I get so much from them. I love the excitement, and I love to be around them and be close to really to feed off of, but to hope to inspire them to keep that excitement for education, because there can be long days and hard days, and there are great days and easy days, and they can very quickly be inspired to, like, okay, let's come back and try again tomorrow. The older you get, I feel like it's a little harder to do that some days, and when you're young, you can, jump right back up and try again. So I love to be with them because they really inspire me more than anything. I always learn something new from them.
Do you think people in the general public always get the full scope or the full picture of what an early teacher faces day to day, what it's like to come to work and go home each day?
I don't think so. I think that there are a lot of people that still think that teaching is coloring and playground and singing songs, and it is all of those things if you do it right, and so much more. I think those things that say you're a nurse, you're a counselor, you're a parent, all those things are true, and I love being all those things. I think that for a new teacher, the balance is so hard to figure out in the beginning. If you're, I work with 2 really young girls now that are second grade. I'm 2-3 combo, and Miss Haley's one, not married yet, doesn't have kids, and so she can do all the things, and she does. She does them well. She's the one that talked me into raising chicks this year too. That was a first, and that was a good time. Brooke, Miss Rollins, is the other. So she's still very young, but she has a baby and a partner. And so she's at a very different area than Miss Haley. And to go home and, take care of yourself or take care of your family and balance all the things we do every day is a tough one. So I wish that the teacher appreciation and all the support every teacher felt like they had every day. I think that would make it easier. Yeah.
I remember in your Teacher of the Year interview, you were asked a question about what's an issue facing public education, and you kind of touched on what we were just talking about now. Do you remember what you said?
I think I said something about the negativity, but I look at it as a positive. I want people to see public education in a bright light. I think for me, I can't imagine another way to teach a child. And there are so many different ways, and they're amazing too. I cannot imagine being a teacher in another way. Um, I think that children get the best of everything in a public school. A teacher that's hopefully excited to be there. Um, like we said about Valmead, the diversity, the things that they learn. You become family, and I'm sure that can happen in any type of education, but public education is just different. And I would love to see more people paint that positive picture that really is there. It's not something that we have to work really hard even to show it's there. And I'm sure some days it's masked behind how tired people are when they go home because of all the things we juggle. Like we said, public education is just, it's wonderful.
Yeah. One time when I visited your classroom, I asked your students, because in your interview we had asked you what would your students say about you. So I went and I asked myself. I wanted to know what they would say. Interestingly enough, they pretty much said what you expected them to say. So that was nice to see. But one of the students said, Miss Stutts, she pushes us hard. She wants us to do a good job, but she loves us so much. And I think that's such a good picture of the teachers that we have in this district.
I agree.
As far as public education, you want to push our students. We want to see them succeed, but we love them so much and want them to be happy when they come to school. So that's one of the great parts of public education, especially here.
I agree.
And what we try to offer students. The other thing I ask you is, what would you do with the platform of Teacher of the Year? Because you're currently Caldwell County Schools Teacher of the Year. That's why I brought you on here. So what do you want to do with this platform for the rest of the year?
Goodness. It's funny that you asked that. When I told my students I was coming to the interview in the beginning, they're like, why do you want to do that? You're the Teacher of the Year at school. And I said, but that's not enough. What do you mean? You want to win all the things? And I was like, no, I don't want to win the things. I want to participate in the things. I want to. And then that's where we started talking about, Kai's My Tank Isn't Full. I've always wanted to leave education when I know it's time for me to leave. And if that's year 30, it's year 30. If it's 30, whatever, that's fine too. And so I want to continue to fill my tank. I want to learn. I want to spread how amazing I think public education is, and specifically Caldwell County. I have only worked here, and I love it. I would not change that at all. I feel very supported and loved in Caldwell County, and I feel like even though I've only been at 2 schools, I feel known and seen in Caldwell County. People are always asking about my students, asking about my class, and if I need something or how things are going. And I think the platform would just be used to spread the positivity of how amazing Caldwell County schools really is. I think it's such a neat place to be. So different. It's not the mountains, although I love the mountains. Not the big city. So it's interesting here, and I would use it to promote anything that is good about education. So
I end these podcasts in the same way each time. We call it learning together because Caldwell County Schools, like we've just been talking about, is so much more than just classrooms and school buildings. We're an entire community dedicated to learning. We learn together. So what is something that the community has taught you recently that you would like to share with everybody else?
wow, the community. I often say to my kids, you've probably heard it, when somebody comes around, they're investing in you. And I think it's so important in moving. I was just talking to one of the young girls today when I left Hudson. Instead of being hated, the girls loaded up their vans and their cars and helped me move to Valmead. And they did put some "You are dead to me" signs around my door. And then at the same time, helped me move there. They still check on me. I think it's very exciting and humbling, and I can't even explain all the ways that I feel in seeing how people invest in me as a teacher. And they don't just expect me to go into my room and do this by myself. They support. You've already done that. The kids love it. They absolutely love it. When I said we're going to see that guy today, they're cheering. And Lucas says, "Nathan, right?" I was like, "Yes, would y'all please make sure you know his name too?"
Well, it's
Nathan.
okay. They can keep calling me that guy.
They love that guy. And I think it's so amazing to see the support that we have. I feel very invested in and very loved. And I hope that I can help others feel that way as well.
That's right. Yeah, for any of the teachers listening, I will visit any of your classrooms because that, to your point, that reminds me why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, you got here for this interview earlier today, and I was running in circles around the building trying to get everything done so that we could sit together. So I do all of those things, but I'm reminded why when I meet kids like the ones in your class that
Absolutely.
tell me that they like to come to school.
Yeah.
And I want the community to know why they like to come to school. And it's because of teachers like Miss Stutts. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I'll probably ask you to come back again.
I would love to.
All
Next
right.
time we'll bring Zach.
Yes.
Have to bring Mr.
That's
Morrow.
right. That's right.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.